Well, I'm just in the Lake District again, and today I'm going to be doing a wild camp at Easedale Tarn. But today I'm going to be taking my kayak up with me and doing like a little paddle in the Tarn up there. I'm just about to hit 500 subscribers, so I'd like to thank every single person for subscribing and liking my videos. Oh, I think my tent's just gone. So today I'm going to be heading up Easedale Tarn to do a wild camp, but I'm also taking my Oru Kayak with me. So I'll be able to have a little paddle up there at the Tarn, which will be quite nice. Well, the kayak weighs 7.7 kilograms, just under 8 kilograms. So it's not the lightest thing to be carrying in your hand, but as long as you swap your hands every now and then, you're all good. You're all good. So I've parked on the lay-by, just on the main road. There's not actually that many places in the Lake District anymore that you can park officially overnight. I'm pretty sure that's an attempt to cut down on the amount of wild camping that people do, and obviously to rake in a bit of money, you know. It's not really too bad carrying the kayak. You just need to swap hands every now and then just to take the burden off each arm. There's a fair few people going back and forth to Easedale Tarn. I don't imagine most of them will be camping, so I should be alright to get a spot. It is a beautiful, beautiful day, but it's also a Thursday, so fingers crossed everybody else is in work. So I've just made my way through Grasmere. Like I said before, I had to park on a main road, which means I had to do maybe a mile walking through Grasmere before I got to the sticks, as it were. So as you can see, I've got myself a set of oars attached to the backpack. This is just a cheap pair of Decathlon ones, metal and plastic. I'm definitely going to invest in a set of carbon fibre ones just to keep the weight down. Every little helps when you're doing this kind of thing. You should be able to see in the distance there a little waterfall. I'll be walking up alongside that. You can just about see the path, and that goes round and eventually ends up at Easedale Tarn. It is a relatively short walk, but you definitely do notice it when you're carrying nearly 8 kilograms in one hand. It's actually really quite breezy today. I did check the forecast and I think the gusts are going up to 20 miles an hour, so not insignificant. Not an issue at all for the wild camp, but it does mean that I won't be able to use the drone as much as I'd hoped. But I'll just use it whenever I get like a little lull in the wind, I think. It's definitely a lovely spot and worthy of drone footage, so I'll definitely try and get that. It's quite funny really, because when you first start doing this walk with the kayak in your hand, you only have to swap hands every like 5 or 10 minutes or so, like some sort of superhuman kayak carrier. But it does not take long at all before you're having to swap hands every 48 seconds. So I'm due a hand swap soon. And one of the things as well is when you start going up rocky steps, you have to really lift the kayak up because otherwise it'll start scraping on the rocks. So that's all fun, but well worth it. I'm not entirely sure, but I'd like to think that I'm the only person on this entire planet that's kayaked on this Tarn. If I'm mistaken and you've kayaked on it before, or know somebody who has, don't comment below please, because I'd like to think I'm special. Oh, crikey, my arm does feel like it's about to fall off, and I've not even got to the steep part yet. So Oru do make a backpack for this kayak, but I do believe they've missed a trick with it. It holds only the kayak and there's very little room for anything else. And I think one of the benefits of this, for me especially, is the ability to be able to take it wild camping and things like that. So I'd love to see a version of their backpack that's got storage room for some ultralight camping stuff. Admittedly, it'll be a fairly niche product, but I think it really is where the lake shines, being able to take it places that you'd never normally be able to take a kayak. And it gets to a point where it's no longer efficient to use the handle, because it just means you have to lift your arm up that little tiny bit more. So instead, what I do is I just put my hand inside the actual case, and now I can hang my arm and just lift up a little tiny bit. So this will do until things get really steep, and then you're screwed no matter what. I'm about 2/3 of the way up now, just at the top of the waterfall section. So I'm just going to head over and filter some water so that I don't have to use the Tarn later. But yeah, it gets a tiny bit busy. I'm just arriving at the Tarn now. There's been tons and tons and tons of people coming away from it, so I'm hoping that they've all left now and I should be able to get myself a decent spot to camp at. It is getting to the point now where I'm having to swap my hands every minute or so. It's taking its toll, so it is. Let's have a look. Oh, perfect. Yeah, so looking, it looks like I got the place myself. That was very much unexpected. So I'm going to go to a nice flat spot where I know I should be able to launch the kayak from. Excellent. Well. Whoa. Swapping hands. There we go. I'll just turn the camera around now so you can see the Tarn. Well, I'm a little bit gutted, to be honest. I was really looking forward to cooking at the side of a tarn and going out and having a little play on my kayak and all that kind of good stuff. And I don't know if you can hear, but the wind has got other ideas. So I can't even cook in the vestibule because it's that windy, so I'm gonna have to cook in my tent, which just seems absolutely mad. I mean, it is absolutely cracking the flags outside. It is so sunny, but the wind has just come out of nowhere. It's just fucking really quite strong. I checked the forecast and it's around about 30, something like that. So it's not like kind of crazy wind, but it's just too windy for me to be cooking outside and too windy for me to be going out on the kayak. So, I mean, obviously a little bit gutted because I've just carried a fucking kayak 3 miles up a mountain so that I can go on have a little adventure on a mountain Tarn, and I literally tried to set it up and the fucking thing just blew away. So I don't think it would be safe for me to actually go out on the Tarn if I can't set the bloody thing up. So, yep. But we'll be good. We'll be good. I feel better once I've had some food. So I'll just set all of this stuff up. Yeah, so definitely not what I had hoped for, not what I had planned. So a little bit gutted, to put it mildly. If you were out and about hiking before at Easedale Tarn, you may have heard some shrieking. That might have been me. Okay. So for tea today, we have got spring onions and red chilies, some garlic and herb sausages, mushrooms, and then we've got an Aberdeen Angus ribeye steak. So should be good, should be good. Little chopping board on the go. So not really much preparation needed for today. Just chop a couple of things and whack them in a pan. So I checked the forecast before, and the wind is getting worse all night. But then hopefully it's going to chill out a little tiny bit tomorrow. It's still going to be quite strong, but hopefully it'll be mild enough for me to be able to go out on the kayak in the morning, which would be nice. Means it wouldn't be a complete waste of my time. I do like chilies. I like the taste, but I like the fact that it's like an extra element, a little tiny bit of heat to your meal. So okay, and then I'm just gonna plop mushrooms in there too. Okay, let's get it. Fucking wind van. Alright then, so this is what I'll use for the pan. I'll get that over there somewhere nice when it's not gonna blow up. I do love raw mushrooms. Not a lot of people do, but they're very, very nice. Yeah, so this is way more awkward than I'd hoped for. I mean, I was just looking forward to cooking outside without having to worry about things knocking over and setting me on fire in a tent. Ah! Okay. A bit of butter. Okay. Move your lid. There's my lid. bit of seasoning on there. Looking good. Okay. Not the most elegant meal, and I've kind of destroyed that steak by having it underneath. Bit of brown sauce. Not on the steak, of course, just on the sausages. Well, I'm going to chuck into this, and I'll get back to you later on. Blueberry muffin. This wind is getting well worse. Pretty noisy tent, to be honest, in the wind this. I've never really been out in much wind with this. I can actually feel the tent lift off the floor when some of those gusts come. I'm not getting any sleep tonight, am I? Oh, fuck me. So, this wind has been just constant all night. I've not had a wink of sleep. It's now about 4:30 in the morning, and without a shadow of a doubt, this is the worst wild camp I've ever done. Not trying to be a moaning bastard, like, but it's just ridiculous. It's because the amount of mesh in this tent, like the wind chill inside the actual tent is ridiculous. It just feels sub-zero. Fuck me. Oh fuck, I think the tent's just gone. That was fucking extreme. What the fuck? Oh, this has just gone floppy, what the hell? There's no way I should be pulling this that tight. Something's well and truly gone. I genuinely don't know what the hell's just happened, because it just suddenly crashed. There's a big banging noise, and all of a sudden the tent went floppy. Oh, Jesus. Well, that's the first time I've ever had a tent kind of fail on me like that. Right, so I think I've gone around now and I've lowered the tent so that there's less gap, so I should feel less wind inside. But yeah, I don't know what the hell that was. Couldn't work it out, but I've had no sleep. I'm not really thinking straight, so I still don't really understand what's just happened. Like, the tent pole hadn't changed its height. None of the pegs had snapped. I just don't know what had happened. But honestly, I was so cold and I was out there trying to fix it. I was just in a bit of a panic. I mean, the tent's doing all right now, but I genuinely thought something had ripped or one of the pegs had snapped. But they all seem fine, so I just don't know. This is just a fucking mad camp, this. It's just so stupid. I just can't believe it's turned out like this. Well, I finally managed to get out on the Tarn. It is still pretty windy, but nothing compared to last night. I'm still in shock about what happened last night. Not at all expected. You know, I always follow the forecast and keep track on it, you know, when I'm doing wild camps. That was vicious wind last night. That wind was ridiculous. I've had almost no sleep. I think I might have nodded off for 5 or 10 minutes here and there. The sound was just constant and the gusts were so unpredictable. What I thought was strange though was that last gust, the one that kind of knackered the tent, that was extreme. That was at least twice as powerful as all of the previous ones. I've had a good look and I honestly still don't know what happened. It just created loads and loads of slack and made the tent cave in on itself. After that last little gust, it more or less stopped and it's been fairly gentle since. I think I should put my sun hat on. I couldn't even wear this yesterday because it just blew off my head the second I put it on. So, to give you an idea of how windy it was. Hats come off. That's how windy it was. So I'll just explain why I'm not wearing a life jacket. So this tarn is kind of famously shallow. It's a really popular tarn for wild swimming. So people swim in here all the time. Plus these kayaks are really wide and honestly they're almost impossible to capsize. So it's incredibly unlikely that I'm going to fall in. And if I did fall in, I'd be able to swim to the edge quite easily. And as well, I'm obviously trying to keep my weight down as much as possible. Carrying the kayak 3.5 miles up to the Tarn's hard enough as it is without having extra weight. And just to be clear, if I am ever going anywhere that's a significant distance from the shore, then I will definitely be wearing a life jacket. I do value my life a little bit. I'm just going to turn around now just so you can see. Look at that. Without a doubt, one of the most impressive things about these kayaks is the fact that you can take them to locations like this. I did say this on my last video where I was kayaking, but it really does affect my mind state differently than hiking does. I mean, as far as this video goes, it'll seem like I'm waffling because I'm talking for the sake of the video. But in between talking, my mind just shuts off quite a lot, which is really quite nice. It's a very unusual feeling for me, having a still mind. You can just see my little camp spot right over there in the distance. So as you saw before, it only takes about 2 minutes to set this kayak up. With it weighing only 7.7 kilograms, you can take it to very remote areas. So I am still kind of in shock about what happened last night. It was, honestly, without a doubt, it was the worst wild camp that I've ever had. It genuinely made me think, do I actually want to be doing this anymore? And the answer to that is, yeah, of course I fucking do. Oh. I've never had a tent fail on me at all, and like I said before, I honestly don't know what it was that happened on it. It felt like one of the tent pegs had snapped. There was just this really loud bang, and then all of a sudden the whole tent just like kind of came in on itself. So as you can see, I went outside and I couldn't really see what was wrong with it, so I just tightened it up. And while I was there, I also lowered it down a little bit so that there was less draft coming through. That definitely helped, but it also coincided with the fact that that last vicious gust also appeared to be the last gust of the night. I was really quite tempted at one point to abort, pack up the tent and head down, but the idea of carrying that kayak in the winds was enough to make me change my mind. It's an absolutely beautiful spot, and I was very shocked when I arrived and I had the place to myself. Not a single other person was here. Pretty much every time I've come here in the past, there's always been at least one other wild camper, usually 3 or 4. It's a very popular place. Wow, look at that. I mean, come on. It's worth carrying a bloody kayak all the way up here to get views like that. I believe the full circuit of this tarn is 1 mile, which is quite surprising, but that's what it is. So at the time of recording this, I'm just about to hit 500 subscribers. So I'd like to thank every single person for subscribing and liking my videos. So my channel's growing really quite quickly now. It took me ages and ages to get to 100 subscribers, and I think it's only been 2 months since 100 to have hit 500. So again, thank you for everybody who's given me support for the channel. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I'm still struggling with the YouTube algorithm. Some of my videos do really, really well, and I'd say most of my review videos get around about 4,000 to 5,000 views. But what I'm finding is the videos where I'm going out on adventures like this, you're just not doing well at all. I might get a couple of 100 views and then that's it. It just dies basically, and it's really quite demoralising because I did start this channel to be balanced, and the main aim was to kind of document my adventures and inspire people into going out. I think that that's going to come a little bit more with subscribers. So I think people who don't know me are going to be drawn in by reviews and things like that, and hopefully my interesting personality will shine a little bit then, and people will subscribe and follow my adventures a little bit. I don't think YouTube really knows how to take me at the moment, so I think it's struggling with who to push my adventure videos out to. I've got 2 adventure videos that have done really well, and both of those are videos where I've been in a little bit of jeopardy, you know, like high winds or not being able to find a camp in the winter, and they've done really well. So I think that is kind of human nature. People are drawn in by a gripping story where, you know, like, oh, does he, doesn't he kind of thing. And I think it'll only be when people subscribe to me for my personality and actually start to give a shit about me that people will probably start watching my standard adventure videos. So interestingly enough, this video turned into a little bit of a Jeopardy video without me even wanting it to. This was supposed to just be an example of, hey look, this is me going out on an adventure. It's just everything happens normally. That bit of a storm last night, it's definitely going to spice the video up a little bit. To be honest, like, if I had the bloody well choice, I would have rather have not had that happen and had a nice night's sleep and been able to cook outside and that kind of thing. But, you know, you got to make the most of it. Ah, there's a little bird outside my house. Hey, mate. So I'm just heading into the shore now. That's a full circuit of the Tarn, as I said before, around about a mile. Yeah, you can just see me tent there coming to view. go.